to do the speaker view, right?
You got it. Now we are live on Facebook because I just got the notification coming to you from a tropical undisclosed location. My name's Dave Saunders. I'm the Chief Idea Officer at Madison+Main, pulling the levers and the controls back at our international headquarters at 101 East Carey Street is the illustrious Derek Fair.
How's everyone
And
doing?
without further ado, I want to introduce two very special people to you today on Facebook for all of our viewers and fans and friends, a couple of friends of mine. Derek's got the sound effects. So first off, Director of Development at the Doorways, Shivangi, Perkins, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. And also, without further ado, CEO of the Doorways, the lovely, talented, vivacious, always enthusiastic, Stacy Brinkley.
Good morning. Good afternoon, I guess I should say.
Exactly. It's 1 minute afternoon, so it's afternoon. We caught you. There you go. Ladies, welcome. Thank you for participating in conversations with clients, or as we like to call it, convos and clients, because we abbreviate everything. It's a chance to learn more about the Doorways and the good work that you guys do over there. Stacy, first off, for folks that don't know Doorways, formerly known as Hospitality House, okay?
Correct.
Got a big building, downtown Richmond, right near the hospital, right near the Coliseum. Tell me what you do.
Great. Well, we are a 117-room guest house. We house patients and families that need to travel to Richmond for often life-saving medical treatment. And specialized care so much now is done in larger cities. It's not all done across the state. You have to travel for some of the most specialized healthcare. So our families have to come to Richmond for whether it's transplants, cancer treatment, trauma. We cover such a wide gamut. And so we are there at the corner of 7th and Marshall in what was formerly an Old Days Inn. So we are fortunate that we have such a large building, even though it's old, that we can really meet the needs of all the guests and patients that have to travel to Richmond. We're one of the largest in the country, and most others have smaller 50 rooms, 40 rooms, or multiple houses of those size, but we're one of the few that has an old hotel.
I was going to say, you guys are the second largest hospitality house in the nation. And I think that's something that we can be proud of in Richmond, because you guys have been doing this for a long time, since 1984.
Right.
Trust me, that's a long time ago, because I was at VCU in college when you started. I'm an old dude, so that's a long time ago.
It's a long time, yes.
And I know one of the things I read on the website is you guys have had more than 175,000 guests.
We have. And just a few years ago, we provided our 1 millionth night of lodging. So we count guests, we count rooms, we count nights of lodging. So we have well over 1 million nights of lodging at this point. We were started in, as you mentioned, 83, 84 when we opened by what was then the Women's Auxiliary at MCV, because they saw patients or their families actually having to sleep in the lobby and eat out of vending machines while their loved one was in the hospital. And back then, really, most everyone was inpatient. They didn't have as much outpatient care as we do today. And so they thought, gosh, we've got to do something. So they were one of the earliest hospitality houses in the country. And so we've been going strong ever since. We started in a small brownstone that had about 11 rooms, dormitory style. And now we're fortunate, as I mentioned, to be in a very old but stable building at 7th and Marshall, right by the lovely Coliseum.
And I've had a chance to go over and talk with people that are staying there, and their loved ones are being treated in the hospital for a variety of reasons. They might be there more temporarily, a child that needs a procedure done,
Yeah.
An older person that's there because they're getting some sort of a heart issue, taking care of cancer patients. I can't imagine what a wonderful thing it is to know that they can literally be across the street from the one that they're caring about and the hospital's taking care of. And your proximity there really helps. Shivangi, I want to talk to you about this too. So let's say that someone comes in and they've got someone going to the hospital. what's that process like? Do they call up and say, hey, we'd like to stay there, and how much does it cost, and how many nights can we stay? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So our system here for guest check-in works with a referral, and we have partnership with about 8 area hospitals and different clinics around. Obviously, VCU Health being one of the biggest one that sends us most of the referrals. So the doctors and nurses at these different units are the ones who, see that there's a reason for this family and needs a place to stay. And they send us a referral form where when we accept the referral, we provide housing for them. So they give us the patients and families the directions, and then they come to us. So it's not really you can call us and make a reservation like a hotel, but your healthcare provider can help you make that happen.
And you guys operate 24 hours a day,
Correct.
7 days a week.
Correct.
And you take off Christmas, right? And Christmas Eve?
Yep. All day.
Somebody is here. There's always someone here.
I'm just kidding. 365. There's someone there helping someone. So for example, you don't go at Christmas time, but everybody's got to get up because we're going to go home. You operate literally 24/7, 365. You're helping people. Not a lot of agencies out there can say that we're really helping someone every minute of every day of every year consistently since 1984. Stacy, that's got to make you feel pretty good about the work that you do.
You know, it's a great mission-driven organization, and we have a fabulous team that helps us deliver on that mission, and really such a dedicated crew, despite, everything going on, COVID, craziness. Our team, we have been fully operational during this whole time, and our staff has, showed up and dedicated to the cause because our guests are so appreciative, and they really need to be here. We do surveys, and about half of our guests tell us without the doorways, they would not be able to get the specialized medical treatment that they need. So it's really important, for us to be here for them.
You mentioned something there too about COVID, and one of the things for having conversations with clients is we're really kind of highlighting them. We're also highlighting the ways that they're operating within that phrase I hate, the new normal. I hate this phrase, but I can't think of anything better to describe it. You're going along, things are going well, you're having a record year with fundraising, and you've got almost full capacity. You're trying to get a new building, you're trying to move forward, and COVID hits. Mm-hmm. But you still operated, right? So
we did.
How is that changed over the last 4 months?
Well, we did see obviously a big decline in our guest census, the folks that were staying with us, because most of the hospitals canceled all elective procedures. So it was really focused on COVID. And we did not house COVID patients or COVID families because we had others that still had to be with us, transplant patients, cancer patients, parents with babies in the NICU, trauma, that ends up flown into VCU Health. So instead of say 130 to 150 people a night, we were down probably closer to 50 during the deepest trough of this crisis. So obviously we were still open. We had to increase, enhanced cleaning. We do that really to hospital standards anyway, because we have so many immune suppressed patients that stay with us. But being even more vigilant in public spaces, that type of thing, we brought in extra help to make sure that we could touch all those public spaces frequently during the day. So, keep the lights on and the doors open. We did see obviously an impact to our fundraising. As you mentioned, we were having a great year, and then COVID hit. So we had to have several special events that were canceled or postponed. And we really ended, our fiscal year ended June 30th. So we ended really on budget, which is great. We are concerned obviously about this coming fiscal year, July 1st, going forward to our, impact of fundraising, just given the impact on the economy, on our donors, special events, what do those look like going forward? So there's still some uncertainty there for us. And we're doing contingency planning and those types of things just to make sure that we have the donations that we need.
from an operations standpoint, I know it's got to be tough to do all these extra cleaning things. Basically, you're running on reduced capacity. In Madison+Main, we had a solution, which is just leave Derek at the office and have him do everything for us. And so we all decided to work from home. Shivangi, I want to talk to you for a second about that. And how does that affect? So COVID, we've seen how it affects operations, and hey, great. So the fiscal year ended strong, right? But we're a little worried about next year. Events, y'all have some great events, by the way. I love the events. You know this. I go to every single one of them. I got all dressed up.
Thank you.
Right. And some of those had to be postponed, right? Do we have any on the schedule right now? We can say that there's some things coming out. Are we doing anything in October, November, or are we waiting and seeing?
Well, like everyone else, we are kind of waiting and seeing, just, because we don't know where this wave's going at the moment, but stay tuned. There will probably be some more information to come on that. I'm sure we all are ready to get out and about and have some events, but anyway, so stay tuned on that one. But I wanted to touch a little bit on your COVID stuff. What's interesting about us, or a little different at the moment, is we are not a COVID relief organization. So, obviously, as you may have seen, most of the funding has shifted from, regular to COVID relief funds and all of that. And we don't fit into that. I mean, because we have a different set of population that needs our help. So we cannot really get into the COVID arena. But having said that, with the COVID and all of that, we had to put like all these different procedures and more safety procedures in place, which has affected us. So I just wanted to kind of pull that distinction there.
Now with elective surgeries happening again, and other with phase 3 reopening and the hospitals there, I imagine you've seen, or you're seeing, your guest count go up.
Yep. So
Right.
we are today already at, I think, over 100 people.
Wow. Okay.
So we're already coming back up. Yep.
So here's the thing. COVID comes along, whacks you down. You're still providing service, right?
Yep.
COVID whacks you with funding, right? Now you're starting to provide more services, which means that you need more funding. And COVID has kind of sucked all the air out of the room, and everybody knows it. Everybody wants to contribute. But we can't forget the neonatal intensive care unit child. We can't forget the elderly person having the hospital procedure, or the cancer patient's family that needs to come to the doorways and stay for a while their loved one's there. So we got to get people, right, and organizations contributing. All right.
Yes, always. We would love that.
All right. So now, one of the things is, with Madison+Main, we know a lot of different companies. Okay, not bragging. Okay, so we know a lot of companies. A lot of those people that are influencers and CEOs may be watching today. Give me the short pitch. What's the advantage of that company saying, you know what? I get it. I'm digging what they say and I want to help. How can I help?
Okay, well, really, you kind of touched on the monetary donation. I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but whenever we get a referral here, once we accept the referral, we take that family in. We do ask for a suggested $15 per person donation, but about 70% of our guests are unable to make that donation. It costs us about $50 to house one person per day. So that's why you'll see a lot of us saying, $35 is something you can donate to compensate for the other half of that 50. But really, when you talk about 70% not being able to do it, I mean, you can do the math, about 100 people a night. It adds up. So any monetary donation at this point will be, extremely helpful to provide that lodging to those patients. We call it our Patient and Family Access Program. So I know
the way I look at it, it's everybody watching right now basically and say, hey, look, $35, I can take care of a family for one night. That's not a stretch, man. That,
right.
Basically for Derek, that's 2 trips to Starbucks. I mean, the way that he, right, D?
That's right.
So with 35, yeah, that's well, he gets the cookie and the donut and all that. of stuff, and maybe a nitro to take with them later. But $35 is not a lot of money. Okay, here's
No.
the and maybe we appeal to folks here in Richmond. You know, we got a source of pride here. The Doorways is one of these institutions that's been here. We help people, and it doesn't matter. They don't have to come from Richmond. They come from Southside. They can come from here. They can come from there. But they are getting treatment because Richmond has world-class hospitals, and we've opened our doors at the Doorways to help these folks. And 70% of them can't afford the basic contribution to stay there. So let's try to help. So $35 for me is like a stretch. Let me take a look at it. What's $100 do? I mean, that's 3 nights almost. But give me an example of what $100 does.
Yeah, a 3-night stay for a couple and their child. You know, if their kid is in the NICU. $250 will provide, you know, a week of stay. So really think about the stays. And I want to point this out, Dave, the more and more, you know, especially with COVID, we'll probably see this more, is our average night of stay with with the guests that stay with us have gone up. Just because if you're doing an elective or a regular visit, even the hospital wants you to come for a day and then go back home because that's the safest place for you right now. But there are people who are going through, you know, a bone marrow transplant. They have to go to back to the hospital every day for at least 100 days. So if you think about staying somewhere away from your home for 100 days, you know, what we try to do here at the Doorways is also make sure they have a home-like environment, which means you have to get meals, you have to get laundry, you have to get, you know, all the other things that you think of in a house, right? So those are the things we're always looking to get from our community. And we've been blessed that our community has helped us on that. Our goal is to provide a meal every single night of the day. And when we say a meal is really, we rely on our volunteers and community supporters who can bring in, you know, a catered meal and serve it to our guests. But because of COVID, we're doing it to-go containers. So, you know, obviously they can bring it in, serve it in to-go containers. And then
some of our employees have been over there and found it very rewarding to volunteer with meal prep, that sort of stuff. Our resident meal prep expert, Katie Rosberg, does that in her sleep. She's like,
yes.
And that's one of the things that has changed with COVID. In the past, we had so many great community groups, companies, churches that would come in and do like the group dinners. And then it was served buffet style on our pool table. And then the guests all congregated in the dining room. And we used to say that's sort of where the magic happened because they got to know each other, they supported each other. And it just really was just a fabulous support system for them. And unfortunately, obviously, that has all changed. So we now do, as Shivangi mentioned, sort of individual servings and to-go containers. We have spread out our dining room so that the tables are at least 6 feet apart. But many guests take the food and go back to their rooms or go out to the garden, go into sort of the library just to try and spread out. So there's unfortunately less of that camaraderie right now, but I think everybody is adjusting well to your new normal, Dave.
Yeah. Getting back to that too with companies and stuff, Stacy, you know, you guys have developed really great relationships with a lot of companies over the year and community-oriented, Richmond-based companies that have a heart, you know, that want to help people, right? There's a lot of organizations out there that do that. I know, for one, Melissa Ball over at Ball Office Products has been very, very helpful with you guys. Davis and Green, a lot of companies. Give a shout out to some of those other companies and tell me what kind of partnership they have with you guys.
Do you want to do that, Shivangi? You have maybe the list.
You go.
CoStar has a new company in town, and they have been extremely supportive. Davis and Green Electrical, they are one of the best. They do everything for in-kind donation drive with their employees. During COVID, they asked each of their employees to make a small donation every week, and then they provided weekly meals for our guests. They started a really fun special event called Tug of War, and that started as a small fundraiser and blossomed into a larger fundraiser that they asked, their vendors and clients to participate. And it's a really fun, literally all it takes is a big giant rope, and you can raise $10,000 like that. So
You can see
they have been
each
amazing.
other on top of
The
that, right?
Junior League of Richmond, several churches that just, are in every month, sometimes more than, once a month, just helping us. Who am I forgetting, Shivangi, in terms of corporations? They're just, like you say, there's so many.
So, Shivangi, if there's a company out there right now that says, look, I want to follow the lead of a CoStar, Ball Office Products, a Davis and Green. I want to get my folks involved with meal prep, fundraising, some different things right now. They contact you, right?
Yes,
Okay.
or they can go to our website, thedoorways.org, and if you go into volunteers, you can see all the options there. But I also want to say, especially with COVID, I don't know if people are not quite comfortable going into other spaces yet. Another way to help us is holding a virtual collection drive. Like I mentioned to you, we were always in need of home products, like cleaning products and paper goods and toilet paper and shampoos and conditioners and all of that. So we have our wish list on our Amazon, and with a virtual collection drive, companies can say, okay, my team's going to get together and this is how we're going to collect these items. Yes. And
Yeah, one of the things that I did for yesterday, I didn't bring my homemade masks down from the Rotary Club, and so I bought some from a CVS, but I didn't look at them too carefully. These are for women. They're very nice and lacy and everything else. They don't fit. My nose comes out of the top and whatever else. But hey, but it's all satiny. It feels really nice on my skin.
Yeah, we would take masks too, because sometimes our guests here are they come here because of an emergency and really not ready to have multiple masks to stay here. So
one of the things that our Rotary Club did is we got to drive together, and to date, we've actually put together more than 1,000 cloth reusable masks for healthcare providers here in the area too. And we put this in as a fundraising project during COVID. And so I will check with them to find out if we have some more masks over there, and I'll see if I can bring them over to you. They're very, very well made. I think Derek might have a bag of them there at the office. But since he's there alone, he's not wearing a mask today. So just make sure that we're all good there. So there's ways for individuals and organizations to get involved. Let's say that, you're right. Somebody's not comfortable coming into the facility and making meals and things like that right now. We get it. But hey, there's no better way than just go there and say, hey, look, here's $50. And I don't know how many meals that's going to provide, but I want to do the right thing because, I contributed to COVID. I did this, and I did the mask, and I did the meals, and I helped the kids and whatever else. But you know what? There's a real need in our community right now for people that need lodging, for people with long-term and short-term critical health care issues.
Right.
Derek's
simple things like, I was gonna say, even simple things like coffee. We try to have coffee made, throughout the day for our guests, that they just can grab a cup and go. And so we get a lot of coffee donated from the local roasters and just in general, but that's a simple thing. People can drop off a bag or two of coffee grounds, and it's always out and on the counter, ready to go.
Give me 5 items like that with coffee. Let's say that we've got somebody watching, they've got some school kids in the neighborhood, they got a church group together, and they want to put something together, but hey, maybe they don't have the wherewithal to give you $1,000 right now. How about if they give you $1,000 worth of coffee and some other products? What are the things, masks, coffee, what are some other things that they can contribute?
Well, Shivangi mentioned toilet paper. That's always easy because it's light and you can bring a bunch and it's not too heavy. Canned goods, peanut butter, tuna fish, individually prepared meals that you buy at the grocery store, mac and cheese, cleaning supplies, Lysol wipes, just, basic.
Toothbrush, toothpaste,
Yeah.
You got it.
Body wash. I mean, just simple like travel size ones. Again, that's something that, you needed daily, and we go through those like water, especially when we have a lot of folks staying with us because again, they're not really planning on being here for that long, but then they end up being here that long.
Our office manager at the beginning of the pandemic kind of hunkered down like Walking Dead, and we've got enough toilet paper, Lysol wipes, and MREs to last a lifetime. So I don't know if you want any 7-year-old military rations, but maybe, just kidding. I think at Madison+Main, Derek, I think we can get together something and bring something over to you. We'll have Kate.
One fun, I want to point out one fun socially distant thing that you can do over here too. If you're okay with coming, here, we call it the Windex party. So because all of our rooms are outward facing, so you'll be on a balcony and, really help us clean the glasses, the windows. So you're outside, you'll be wearing a mask, but then what you're really doing is cleaning the windows.
Derek,
it helps a lot. It helps.
You don't have to rub, you just got to squeegee.
Derek, you ready?
I'm ready. Say the
All
word.
right, ready. You heard it here first. He said it live on Facebook, so we know we'll be over there. That's awesome. Stacy, you were like, we're in this. I don't know what we're gonna have enough to talk about. 30 minutes sounds like that's 26 right there. So
there you go. Hey, one other population we haven't talked about, but I think is important that we serve. We serve over 1,000 veterans and their families every year because a lot of if they're going to the VA hospital, we see a lot of their heart and liver transplants, plus regular folks as well. So we serve over 1,000 veterans a year. They have the Fisher House down there, but that's a smaller building, only 20 rooms, and only their family members stay there while the veteran is in the hospital. But we have the veterans themselves, their family members, and serve over 1,000 every year. So that's another, differentiator for us in terms of, focusing on where the need is.
Do you work with Tom Winfrey's organization, Families of the Wounded, as a referral partner over there?
We do not, but we should definitely look into it.
I would definitely like to make that introduction. They've done a great job raising money here, really kind of, I think, post 9/11. 4 or 5 guys got together around the table. They all threw in $100 and said, let's support an organization called Families of the Wounded. It's based here in Richmond. And especially if you're helping veterans and that sort of stuff, I think that introduction needs to be made. Great folks over there. And I know Fisher House, you mentioned, is a great organization as well. Again, small capacity building with 20 folks. And it was really nice. And I thank you for mentioning that. And thank you what you guys do for our veterans too, because there's a lot of as we know, Molly Whitfield, our president and CEO, actually is wife of a military active duty member now. And we've tried to support those organizations too, because we know how difficult that is, especially for the families, for those that are serving, and then doubly hard for those families of service members who've been wounded or injured while serving. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Getting back over to this, a couple minutes left. The actions here, go to Doorways. You guys got a great looking website over there, right? It's got lots of good information.
Dave, thank you for your donation.
No problem. Thank you. And we love the Windex party idea. I love the tug of war idea. There's some other ideas. We'll give you a shout out tomorrow in the weekly report. Maybe we could get some more dollars and volunteers in there too. Derek, I'll check in with you quickly to see if we had any comments or suggestions or questions of Stacy or Shivangi that we can answer right now.
No comments or questions right now. Just people checking in, saying hey, and liking the feed. So
liking the feed and liking the post. You guys are rock stars. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Got it. Shivangi, any last words of wisdom for people that are thinking about getting involved?
Sure. I guess I would say, what we do here is a reflection of what how our community supports us, because we're also an organization who relies heavily on community support to operate. So I think the whole of Richmond, RVA, as well as Virginia should feel proud, because people here come from Virginia, all around the world, like about 40 countries, and they make Richmond a good place for all of us. So thank you for your support, and hopefully you'll continue to support us. And And, you know,
Well,
we'll
one of the
continue
things-
to provide the service we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. One of the things that Stacy said earlier and touched on, she said, what a great team she has. And I know that because I've met a whole lot of them. But I think they would turn around and say that they have a great leader as well. And in
Yeah.
fact, Stacy Brinkley has done a great job leading this group of folks. And I know she's probably blushing right now as we say this, but Stacy, thank you. Thank you for all that you do over there. Any last words for the folks that are watching now? Anything that you want to let them know about Doorways?
Well, thank you for those kind words. And my answer would be similar to Shivangi's. We are so blessed because of all the generosity of Richmond. I mean, yes, we get donations from other places, but a lot of it is Richmond based and Richmond focused, both in terms of the monetary donations, in-kind donations, but especially the volunteers. Volunteers are such an important part of our mission, whether it's providing meals or washing windows or just being a concierge for us, helping out at the front desk, doing projects. They're a critical part of our operation. So we are excited to get them back. We have some slowly returning. And we are just, again, very grateful for the generosity of the city of Richmond and surrounding areas.
I'm going to finish with a challenge. And so maybe people know this, some people may not know this right now. Stacy Brinkley and I are both members of the Virginia Council of CEOs, and I'm also lucky enough to have her in my roundtable. So I'm going to issue a challenge to every member of Virginia Council of CEOs right now. And Stacy's going to back me up. We're going to post this at Virginia Council of CEOs. And we want these CEOs to do one or two of the following things. You either need to donate or volunteer at the Doorways. And we're going to post this there and we're going to guilt you into doing it. How's that sound?
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So I will lead the charge with the
Okay.
donation, and I will come over at your next Windex party. And even though I do not do windows at Madison+Main, I will do windows at the Doorways.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Eric says he's going to help me out. Maybe we can get a couple of other Madison and Maniacs to help out.
Y'all will make it fun.
Absolutely. And we're going to tag them in the comments today so they can see that minute mark to where I challenged Scott and Connie and the entire council over there. I bet they're thrilled the fact that I challenged all of them. So let's see if we can get some donations.
Great. Thanks. That's great. You're always creative, Dave. We love it.
Trying to do something here. We got to get it moving and get as we get back to the new normal. Let's try to help those that are in need right now, that need lodging for their loved ones that are at one of these great Richmond hospitals. So Shivangi, thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you,
always
Dave.
lovely to see you. By the way, you have the coolest name of any of my friends.
Thank you. Comes all the way from Nepal, so.
I know. Well, I love it. And it's so cool. Like, you know, for my parents, they just named me Dave, which is like the worst thing you could ever name anybody. And Stacy, thank you for your help and your friendship. And Derek pulling the levers behind the scenes, making sure all the wires are connected. Thank you, sir, for coming in. I know that it was hard waking up before noon. Thank you, Derek. I tease Derek. You know why?
Why?
The ones you love. That's why. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.